I think you've heard it.
Please, we're all taking over.
Then we can say, yes, we have made this progress, but there's still room for us to move forward. Just like Sehu Sani said, how they were locked up, how they were detained. Can he say under this democracy, any Nigerian has found himself in another state? That's a progress. You see, we should not every time give the impression as if we have not made any progress as a country. You have said here our infrastructure, FCT. You have said here FCT. Who is FCT minister working on? Who? Mr. President, which means he has the capacity to do those who can help him move the country forward. That is progress. Mr. President knows that there is a problem. And that's why he said he didn't hope agenda. Why did he say he didn't hope agenda? He knows that Nigerians have lost hope. And therefore, that we must work hard to bring back that hope to Nigeria. So it is not as if Mr. President, don't sit down, let people not deceive you that Nigerians are suffering. Who does not know that Nigerians are suffering? That is going to be a story. And we should not we should distinguish between theory and real practice. You know, we have to come to the public and begin to compare what Nigerians like. We have to clap hands. Mr. President has been making a lot of effort. And you know where we are coming from. We don't expect, within a short time, the economy that was down, everything was this country was broken, and then you expect, within a short time, everything will be corrected. That is not correct. Thank you for saying that we're going to Ghana, which means if Abuja can be well, it's good for things to be well. Yes. So I felt I should try to do this, and to say my brother friend, and that the mere fact that you were activists does not mean that you will do well. No. That is not aligned to the curriculum. No. Activists have always failed. Activists have failed. We have seen activists that are given appointment, and yet they failed. When you were Senate, how did we perform? What was our performance as senators? And you have said about rigging elections as an activist, how many times have you rejected brief? Those who have rigged the election, you have never defended them.
I mean, yeah. I know some of you have heard that before now, right? So Tinubu put together the people that will help him to move Nigeria forward. No, sorry, that's not how he says it. It's okay. Tinubu has put together people that will help him to move Nigeria forward. I think. Is that how? It doesn't matter. In January 2023, Bukwari signed the 2023 budget into law, a 21.8 trillion naira budget. That was January last year. And according to them, they expected that to run for a full financial year, January to December. Then Tinubu took over in May. And by July, Tinubu was already asking for a supplementary budget of 2.17 trillion naira. That is to take the 2023 budget to over 23 trillion naira. That was his first request. Then they now requested, sometimes in November, December, when the 2023 budget was supposed to be rounding up, and then preparation for the 2024 budget to be submitted and passed and, signed in January 2024. Tifnumbu's economic advisors, right? They now requested for an extension of the 2023 budget to June 2024. I don't know if you know that. Normally, when you sign a budget into law, by the closing year, before the 31st of December, all ministries, parastatals, departments, all of them would have to return all of the money left in their accounts back to the national, what do you call that thing again? Your national treasury. Because the following year, they're going to be disbursing another set of money. So you're going to be writing your budget to say, oh, next year, what we couldn't do this year, we want to do them this or that, blah, blah, blah. And then once the budget is passed and the fund is released, you begin to implement or execute whatever plan you have, right? But since Tifnumbu came in their own abracadabra voodoo economy, they decided to have an extension for 2023. Also, they submitted the budget for 2024, the 27 trillion naira budget for 2024. While 2023 budget was still active. Then remember, the 2.17 trillion naira supplementary budget was for 6 months too. That one was still active as well. Now they have two budgets active, 2023 to 2024. No closure, no nothing. Looting galore, no account, what do you call it, auditing, whatever, nothing. Just carry on. But they wrote a new budget that was submitted in December. And Kolu signed that in January, I think. Is it January or February? January. So that was like they now have another active budget, which carries most of what is in 2023 budget as well. So 2024 with some add-on and padding. Now, they have 3 budgets running, Abi. Kolu has now sent in a supplementary request, a supplementary budget that he also need an extra 3-point-something trillion naira. On what? Oh, some new stuff we think we should do. And they want that to be passed. Meanwhile, 2024 budget, they just reached 6 months. Second quarter of 2024 budget. 2023 budget has been running since January up till now. They came out, they denied it. But as usual now, they believe that we've denied it, just forget it. So budget did something on that, and they decided to make this public. Okay. So they said, recall that the 2023 approved budget of 21.8 trillion signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari in January 2023 was designed to run for 12 calendar months from January to December, as is the practice globally. In addition, while 2024 appropriation bill was being drafted, the 2023 supplementary budget of 2.17 trillion was passed by the National Assembly and assented to by President Kolu Tifnumbu barely 2 months before the end of 2023 fiscal year. For a brief period, Nigeria returned to the January-December budget calendar in 2019, but retrogressed from 2020 fiscal year. Like that story, Sharia, because I don't want that to take much of our time. I kind of have summarized it though, right? So what it is now is, Tifnumbu and his gang, they came out and said, no, it's a lie. We are not operating an extra, blah, 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 and that's it. That's it. But they are. So what you have in Nigeria right now is a free-for-all. Fiscal rascality, it is called. It is a place where anybody can do whatever they like. Yeah, do whatever you like, John. Don't stress yourself. Just do as you like. Do anyhow. You are likely never going to be held responsible. Ever. I don't know if there are economists in here to probably pop in later in the evening to tell us more. The implication of this. In Lagos, what they did successfully was to ensure that the finances of Lagos State is never made public. There is no amount of freedom of information requests that you will send to them that will allow them to open their book. They will give you summary. Oh, Ministry of Agriculture, Lagos State, 16 billion. Who are those who are going to take that 16 billion? That 16 billion for what? You will never know. Or how much is Lagos State generating per se? Ask Alphabeta. Or Alphabeta, how much are you really generating and how much are you taking? We're generating 400 billion. And we know that by 2020 or 2025, we are going to be generating 1 trillion for Lagos. That's all. Where is that money you will be generating? Where would they be coming from? And what are those taxpayers getting in return? Nothing. You're asking too much questions. Can't you see the road? Can't you see the bridge? Can't you see the trains? Can't you see that they are paying poor workers 70,000 naira? Say, okay. How many workers are you paying 70,000 naira? How much are you really paying your workers, let's say, from your wage bill? How much is that? Oh, it is 40 billion. How did you arrive at that? Can't you see that Lagos is the biggest and the kiniko in Nigeria? This is how they live. That's how they are going to run Nigeria. You are going to live off speculation, assumptions, but the real document, except when they get leaked to the public, they will never make them public. They are wrecking Nigeria as we speak. When you discover or you find out, I promise you it will be too late. Like, it will be too late. Bombers everywhere in the north. Was it not that same Kano where they celebrated the repentant thugs, pickpockets, potential terrorists? Now we have the bombers on the loose. Suicide bombers are back.
The 222 thugs, popularly known as Endaba in Kano State, are here to embrace the amnesty initiative introduced by the Nigeria Police Force in the state. About 3 months ago, the Kano State Police Command invited some identified individuals believed to be behind the escalation of thuggery and other heinous crimes in the state for dialogue. The meeting yielded a positive response as some of the thugs embraced the initiative. Among the 222 repentant thugs, 50 of them drawn from Dala, Fege, Ungugu, Kano Municipal, and Gwale local government area of the state, having completed a 2-month intake training as members of the Nigerian Police Special Constabulary, were decorated. They pledged to promote peace in the state and promised not to go back into thuggery.
I am among the 50 people who were trained and absorbed into the Nigerian Police Force, and I am prepared to play my part to ensure that Kano is peaceful. We will go around the state and continue to preach peace to the people so as to keep the state safe.
While welcoming the repentant thugs into the society, the Commissioner of Police, CP Mohammed Gumel, debunked reports making round that the police is recruiting thugs as its personnel. He says the amnesty initiative is only aimed at sustaining peace in the state.
As of today, the police command has received a total of 222 influential youth and are committed to crime prevention duties with the police to fish out violent criminals among them, notorious thugs popularly known as Endaba, who over the years engaged in supremacy conflict, Padandaba as we call it.
The governor of the state, Abba Yusuf, who gave a rousy welcome to the repentant thugs, urged them to be good ambassadors of the state.
From the day they surrendered, they have been subjected to series of reformatory process. They have undergone lectures from psychologists and other experts in human behaviorism. And by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are going to give them all the necessary encouragement.
But the move has generated uproar online as some of the repentant thugs, who is said to be a notorious criminal, recently declared wanted by the police. Nasir Abdullahi, popularly known as Chile Midoki, is among the new recruits. Some critics kicked against his inclusion and denounced the entire amnesty program. But while defending the move by Kano State, the police force spokesman Muiwa Adejobi said, and I quote, "They are not policemen, I was told, and it has been in the news that they are repentant individuals who have been mobilized into the constabulary scheme of Kano State. The constabulary scheme is not police, but a community-based initiative. With the integration of these 222 repentant thugs into the society, residents of Kano hoped that the amnesty program will address the incessant crimes in the state." Ayo.
Anarchy loans. Anarchy loans.
Don't forget. And some of them have been probably shipped out of what do you call it, Kano and all that. Nigeria, Nigerian security and Nigerian government, they bragged, especially under Bukwari, they bragged about rehabilitating over 200,000 repentant terrorists. Let me tell you something about that, right? In northern Nigeria, these Islamic jihadists not only just kill people, they kidnap children, right? They sell some of them off as sex slaves. They collect money or guns by just exchanging them for weapons. But others, especially young girls, they keep them for their own pleasure. They rape them and rape them and rape them until they put many of them in family ways. I'm talking about children as young as 13 years, 14 years. Now, you see, these atrocities is called atonement, sort of, because once the Islamic terrorist capture any woman or girl, right? She automatically becomes his property, that he can do whatever he likes with her. Now, if he chooses to begin to rape her, it is considered as cleansing her, atonement, and saving her. It is like an honor. These terrorists kidnapped thousands of children, not just school children. Children just from different communities in northern Nigeria, unaccounted for. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years later, these children, these little kids, they are now mothers. I'm talking about some of them with as many as 5 children for terrorists. So under Boko Haram, the terrorists were bringing in, they said that they were hungry, so they started coming out of the forest with all of these abused children who are now young women, damaged. And guess what Nigerian government did? They didn't call them terrorists. They didn't call those young women victims of terrorism and rape. They called them families. They said repentant terrorists and their families and their wives and children. So there's no crime committed, so to say. So under Boko Haram, amnesty is there. Take it. And you could get something. Majority of them were also used to swindle Nigeria. Because if I ask some of you right now, Do you have a clue how much Bokwari and then Buratai the butcher, how much they spent on rehabilitating thousands of the Boko Haram terrorists and their victims? You have no clue because nobody knows. At a point, some of them had to protest. Some of those repentant terrorists, they protested. They said they were suffering even more. And the camps where they kept them, and they've separated them with, from their wives. That is like, they protested, man. Terrorists protested in Nigeria that they were not giving them what they promised them. You know? But we are back. We are back to that era. Okay? And talking about era. Here is their governor, though. The governor that opened a constabulary with the Nigerian police in Kano, that they put Nigerian police uniform on thugs because they repented. Now they needed them to maintain peace. Nigeria at a time, right? Well, here is him at their last meeting in Abuja. Don't mind all the junks he's saying, okay? I just wanted to be here while talking about Kano.
As you are aware, today the National Economic Council sat for the 142nd council meeting, where a lot of issues were discussed and resolutions made. Part of today's resolution centered on the nomination of board members for the Niger Delta Power Holdings Company. Niger Delta Power Holdings Company has been operating for quite a long time without the supervisory board. Today, the council deliberated, and after exhaustive discussions, council has finally approved the nomination of the following as members of the board of Niger Delta Power Holding Company. This nomination cuts across the 6 geopolitical zones of this country. Council nominated the governor of Borno State to represent the Northeast, the governor of Katsina State to represent the Northwest, of course the governor of Imo State to represent the Southeast, Ekiti State Governor to represent the Southwest, Kwara State Governor, who coincidentally the chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, is to represent the North Central. The governor of Akwa Ibom State is equally going to represent the South-South geopolitical zone.
He kept reading it, but don't worry, let me save you some time, okay? So that's the Kano governor announcing that they had their NEC meeting in Abuja, and to constitute the committee for Niger Delta Power Holding. Niger Delta Power Holding, so they will need all the governors from all other regions to be member of the committee for Niger Delta Power Holding, Nigeria Limited. Wetin concern Kano, wetin concern Northeast. Do you know that as you have NDDC, the Niger Delta Development Commission, they've created, Bokwari created Northeast Commission, sorry, Northeast Development Commission, NEDC. And I bet you, some of you have no idea how much money goes into these two, do you? Right, for the terrorists in northern Nigeria to be rehabilitated and the victims of terrorism, villages destroyed and all of that, NEDC was supposed to be rebuilding homes for people. Hundreds of billions of Nigerian naira has gone into the private pocket of those appointed to man those to man that kind of a committee. All of them, sha. While the victims of terrorism continue to languish, different IDP camps across the north. Fortunate, right? I'll leave it at that, and then we can quickly. I think we should take a stop in Kenya.